Hello and welcome to Dingoes Ate My Podcast. I'm Paul,
And I'm Dave.
and this week we are discussing the episode Awakening. This episode originally aired January 29th, 2003, attracting an audience of approximately 3.19 million viewers, which I think is the low for this season, actually. Yeah, that's the lowest for the
Not
season.
sad.
Alrighty, so let us start off with the number one film in America this week, Dave. Any idea what that might be?
Again, with going off of last week, again, there's nothing else around that time that kind of immediately jumps to mind that would have come around at the start of the year.
I can almost
But,
guarantee you don't know this movie because I don't know this movie.
eh. But then, from the sounds of it, it's not the ghost movie from last week.
It is not. No, it is a different film.
Hmm.
You want to throw out a guess?
Yeah, I've got nothing.
Okay. Uh, so the number one film in America this week is a little movie called The Recruit, which grossed just over $16.3 million at the box office, and looks like it was a very mediocre film.
Dingoes. Again, like on the one hand, there's a mild twinge of remembrance, but I'm not sure if I've gotten that confused with something else. Out of curiosity, is it a football movie?
No, it's like a CIA kind of thing, it looks like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then I might have got it confused with something else.
It's Colin Farrell, Al Pacino. Like, it looks, from the poster and the description that I've quickly scrolled through, it sounds very generic.
You know, if it's a spy action movie, this is kind of the way to do it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hmm.
Alrighty. So, number one song in America this week, Dave. Any guesses?
Not specifically on the top of my head, but mostly it's kind of a case of, is it still Eminem?
It is not,
Oh.
surprisingly. Eminem has been toppled, at least for the time being. Actually, I think he's toppled for this. Yeah, he's not coming back this year.
Hmm.
Any
I'm
idea?
supposing just the question by who. There's particular ones in mind, but I'm not sure if it's too early or if it'd be far too far into the future for those particular ones. Again, the one thing that comes to mind would be Justin Bieber, but I'm thinking that might still be a couple years off.
Oh, that's like a decade from now.
Okay.
He's
Yeah.
like in the 2010s, I think. This is only 2003, sir. We were still in high school.
Yes, with all those ones. With the Green Days and the other particular
I
ones.
wish it was Green Day, but it's not. It is a song called Bump 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 by B2K featuring P. Diddy.
Again, I'm not surprised, but just with that title, it's like I most likely know that song, but I would not remember it unless it was playing in front of me.
Um, yeah, I would say it would be a song that you would, because I looked it up yesterday, and I'm like, oh, I remember the song, but prior to hearing it, I did not.
Hmm. It's always the case with those couple particular songs, unless you really look into it and put it to memory. That's what that song is.
Yes. Alrighty. And moving on to video games for the week, we only have one game this week.
Probably best not to overflow the year with game releases. Probably be safe, especially with last year.
I say that it's only one game, but it's a pretty damn big one. So, in 2003, on January 3rd, if you were a PC gamer, you could go and pick up a little game called Unreal 2 The Awakening. Are you familiar with the
Oh,
Unreal series?
again, the name is familiar, but I can't specifically recall actually playing through much of the series, I don't think.
Yeah, I would be slightly surprised if you had really played any of the Unreal games. Um, Most people are probably more familiar with the Unreal Tournament games, which were like these arena shooters that were, how do I explain Unreal? Very quick paced. They were a ton of fun. but they're not known for like having a great story or anything really. But they were definitely fun shooter games for the time. Like arena shooters, like I can't think of a good example off the top of my head now, but
Like the only one that I can specifically think of would be either Quake and or Doom, like the OG ones.
Kinda, yeah. Unreal Tournament 2004. Let's see if I can find a screenshot, and you'll probably know it when you see it.
Now I'm quickly doing a little research myself. Quickly seeing if I can find a thing. Oh my god, the pixels.
Oh, that's lame.
Well, on the one hand, it's not immediately terrible. It's understandable for the time. But just with common sensibility, it's just a case of, ooh.
I mean,
Ooh, it's nostalgic, but just, ooh.
yeah, but they're like, I will always argue that these games are not, you can't judge them by the graphics, you have to judge them by the gameplay.
True. Like, again, the other particular thing was seeing things like Halo or Halo 2 playing, and yeah, this is around the same kind of technical level.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you put this next to like oh, I'm totally blank, World of Warcraft, it doesn't look out of place.
Mm-hmm.
And this was designed to be a very much like an online kind of multiplayer experience.
Yeah, definitely, and especially around that time, needed to work, but also just with how much other things you had to factor in, you couldn't really punch it up without spending a mint.
Well, yeah, you had to be kind of worried about like people's connections and stuff because we didn't have fiber optics. Anyway, let us move on to the episode.
Indeed.
Okay. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, we start off in the Hyperion Hotel, where Fred is trying to work out a way to bring back the sun to Los Angeles, and notes that she could use Wesley's help in the research. Gunn isn't impressed, as Wesley has gone missing while Gwen has completely skipped town. Connor points out that the answers lie with Angel, but Cordelia reminds him that her vision showed that it was Angelus that made the pact with the Beast in the past. Gunn reminds everyone of Wesley's earlier declaration that they needed to bring Angelus back to get answers, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. As the only way for Angel to lose his soul is to experience perfect happiness, and happiness of any kind is in short supply for all of them.
Yeah.
In
his apocalypse kind of does that.
Well, it tends to, yeah. In his office, Angel has saying for Lorne in the hopes that this could provide them with some answers. But this, his reading has shown nothing. Angel is confused as he remembers every second of his time as Angelus, and yet has no recollection of the Beast. Lauren points out that it seems only Angelus has the answers, but Angel is against bringing him back, and even if he did approve of the idea, that there's no really way to do it. Across town, Wesley breaks into the lair of a mystic named Wu Pang, knowing that he has the power to extract souls. In the hotel,
and
Fred...
thus a method exists.
It sure does. In the hotel, Fred informs everyone that she can't find any way to bring the sun back. Angel tries to rally round his demoralized team, telling them that they may be losing ground, but they still need to protect the people in the city from the creatures that now have free reign. Connor snipes that this is exactly how Angel wanted it. He accuses his father of being in league with the Beast, and that he is the reason he hates his life. Angel tells his son to get over his issues. Wesley walks in with Wu Pang as Fred goes to make the mystic tea. Angel wants to know what Wesley thinks he is doing by bringing in a dark mystic. Wesley tells Angel that Wu Pang has the power to not only remove souls, but to put them back. Angel isn't interested and tells Wesley to get rid of Wu Pang refusing to have his soul removed. Where did I get to? There we are. Outside the hotel, Cordelia approaches Angel and tells him that she's on his side in this. Having experienced the horrors of Angelus both personally in Sunnydale as well as seeing his actions while as a higher power, Angel asks if she agrees with Connor in his accusation that he's working with the Beast. Cordelia admits that she thinks it's possible, and Angel tells her that he's already a danger to them. Cordelia assures him that he isn't as big a danger as Angelus, but notes that Angelus is smarter in a way, and as he is evil, will think like the Beast. Her words convince Angel that Angelus should be brought back, he starts to make arrangements for a cage to be built in the hotel's basement to contain him. After the cage is constructed, the ritual to remove Angel's soul is ready to begin. Lauren decides not to watch, and Angel understands and asks Cordelia and Fred not to watch either. He talks to Connor, assuring his son that no matter what happens to him or will happen, he loves him and Connor's in charge of protecting the group. If anything goes wrong with Angelus, he'll have to kill him. Connor agrees a little too quickly for Angel's liking. Wu Pang brings down a glass jar which will house Angel's soul. Cordelia acts against Angel's wishes and comes to watch the ritual. As Angel is stripped down, Wu Pang enters the cage and asks for it to be double locked for safety. He then begins the ritual. In the middle of the chanting, Wu Pang suddenly pulls out a sword and attempts to kill Angel with it, while revealing he's actually working for the Beast, who wants Angel dead. Angel manages to get free of his restraints, and Gun is able to enter the cage. The two briefly fight Wu Pang, asking why the Beast suddenly wants Angel dead. Wu Pang then commits suicide to prevent the gang from getting any information out of him. And while investigating his body, the gang find it covered with symbols, confirming that he is an acolyte of the Beast, and why there's no information on the Beast in the book, since the acolytes walk around wearing it, which is a really cool gimmick.
Indeed.
It is. I love it.
Would probably be a little time consuming.
Yeah, no, but it is a cool visual. Reading the symbols, Wesley finds that an order called the Bosch Mod, whose members are dedicated to destroying the Beast, when he awoke and created a sword that could do the job. It's now a case of finding the sword. Cordelia has a vision showing her that it can be found in L.A. Angel points out to Wesley that he wanted to bring Angelus back and brought a shaman who tried to kill him, when all along there's a sword that can destroy the Beast. Wesley apologizes for his errant judgment, and Angel notes that it's the first time he's apologized for any of his recent mistakes, allowing the two to finally come to an understanding. Angel, Cordelia, Wesley, and Connor then set off to retrieve the sword. As they head through the cave, Angel notes the convenience that the very sword that can destroy the Beast is located right under their feet. But Cordelia explains that her visions told her that the sword would be retrieved from over could be retrieved from over 100 points across the world. They come to a passage filled with bells ringing from the ceiling that trip stakes from the wall if rang. The gang carefully make their way through when, near the end, Wesley accidentally rings a bell, causing them to run for it. At the end of the passage is a dead end, but Cordelia notes that dead ends normally aren't booby-trapped. Wes notices a pattern to the symbols on the wall and presses a panel that raises the wall up a little. He presses what he believes is the next symbol in the sequence, and then gets a spike through his hand. Wesley then spots the correct pattern, and the door eventually rises enough to let everyone through. Very Indiana Jones shit. Next, the gang decide to split up, which never split the party. And Angel...
Yeah, not exactly the best option.
No, usually not. And Angel sends Connor with Wesley. However, Connor wants to go with Cordelia, and Angel has to force him to go with Wesley. Cordelia apologizes to Angel for her recent bad decisions when it comes to Connor, but before she can ask for forgiveness, she and Angel come to a set of stone pillars in a room filled with light from an unknown source, but no sword. Angel suddenly reaches into an invisible portal, and he realizes that the sword was hidden in a dimensional hub, allowing it to be accessed from any number of locations. He pulls out the sword, which causes the room to start to collapse around him and Cordelia. The two barely make it out, and this brush with death causes Cordelia to break down and tell Angel that everything he did as Angelus doesn't matter, and that she wants to be forgiven for sleeping with Connor, which Angel does, and the two kiss. Connor sees this and storms out, with Angel closely following to explain. However, Connor doesn't want to hear it and walks through a booby-trapped room which shoots darts at people. Angel narrowly saves Connor, but his son still angrily leaves. Returning to the hotel, the gang claim Connor is patrolling, and Fred tells Angel that the only way to kill the beast is to pierce his brain with the sword. This will bring back the sun, but the sudden release of energy will surely kill any human, and it isn't certain that Angel will survive it either. Angel tells the others that he needs to fight it alone. He adds that they've each made a difference and are there for each other when needed, and that's why the forces of evil will never win. Every one of them is a champion. Cordelia argues that she isn't willing to lose him now, when they're just starting to really make things work out. But Angel tells her that he needs to leave and find the beast. This task gets a lot easier when the demon himself smashes his way through the hotel's front doors. The gang run for weapons, but Angel orders them to leave. Cordelia isn't willing, and she has to be carried out by Gunn and Wesley. The initial fight against the beast doesn't go well, and the sword is smashed in half before the beast grabs Angel's throat. Having returned to help his father, Cordelia hits the beast from behind and corrects the beast when he refers to Angel as Angelus. As Connor keeps the beast distracted, Angel shoves what remains of the sword into the beast's head. The beast is destroyed, and the sun returns to Los Angeles. Connor admits that Angel is the one that Cordelia truly loves, and the two finally establish a bond as father and son. The gang emerges, and Angel tells them that the beast is dead and that they all had a hand in it. Everyone is overjoyed, and Wesley and Gunn settle their differences with a handshake, restoring their friendship. Outside, the people of Los Angeles rejoice and return to the sun while Angel watches from inside the hotel. Cordelia notes that it must be hard for Angel to watch everyone so happy in the sun where he can't go, but Angel assures Cordy that there's nowhere he'd rather be. The two kiss, and Angel briefly hesitates, only for Cordelia to tell him not to worry. Angel succumbs, and the two are soon in bed. And Angel starts to feel perfect bliss, causing him to gasp out, "Buffy," as he begins to lose his soul. Suddenly, the scene shifts back to Wu Pang performing the ritual, with Angel restrained in the cage. Everything that happened since he started the ritual was an illusion designed to make Angel feel a moment of perfect happiness. Wu Pang says that the vision has become a reality. In the cage, Angelus wakes up and starts to laugh as a glass jar sitting nearby now contains his extracted soul. Alrighty. A lot happened in this episode, Dave.
Indeed. And it was kind of one of those particular cases of one of the 101 lessons of storytelling. If there's ever a case that a specific ritual is starting, you can't really expect the things that you'll be experiencing after that are real or not. And I forgot about that.
They do a very good job of making you think that it's real.
Entire sequence of things, it's like everything is going by so smoothly. Why the heck is this happening? This isn't real. Wait. Oh, now it makes sense.
You should have known when things went well, something's up here. This can't be right. Yes. So, was there anything you wanted to bring up about this episode? There's a lot in it, but also kind of not.
There's points and interesting bits. I think at the very most, it's mostly just intriguing of, with all the stories that Connor has heard about Angelus, it would be interesting to see his reaction to actually seeing him, because it would just be ridiculous if they never bothered to show him off to him.
Yes, so we're gonna have Angelus around for a little while, and that'll be fun. It's always a good time when we get some Angelus.
It is. It's also a time of horrible death and possibly dismemberment, depending on his mood.
I mean, I feel like that's pretty much every mood, but okay. But yeah, it'll. Do you have any idea where we might be headed this season? Do you have any theories?
Well, the case of, oh man, the stuff you saw in the end half of the episode was actually just to get this one thing done. We still have the big demon bad to supposedly deal with, but whether or not that's going to finish us or get us through the rest of the season, I'm not too sure. I suppose there's also the idea of how they're gonna kind of bring back Wolfram and Harp, or how all that's going to supposedly fit into the story a bit.
So, do you think the Beast is the big bad for the season, or is there going to be someone else?
It's still fairly early on in the season. I wouldn't be surprised if there was something that might have come in, but again, just with past experiences and whatnot, it wouldn't surprise me if they kept this monster as the big bad of the season.
Okay, that's interesting. Alrighty. Well, let us quickly do a little bit of international titles for this episode. There's not really a whole lot. Most of them are either Awakening or The Awakening, but there are a few that are slightly different. So, in Hungarian, it translates to Wake Up.
It's a way of awakening, so
And in Latin American Spanish, it translates as Waking Up.
I don't know. I think as it is, the Hungarian one is the one that tickles me great, though. It's just kind of the case of one or two particular shows where they subvert particular waking up particular sorts of people with, you think it's going to be the traditional story or fairy tale sort of way, and instead it just translates to the slapstick way of slapping in the face and like, wake up.
Yes. Now, if there's nothing else about this episode, next week we'll be discussing Soulless.
You know what Angelus is.
Yes. So, with Angelus now confined to a cage, Cordelia, Wesley, Gunn, Fred, and Connor take turns interrogating him, hoping to find out how to kill the beast. However, they're not going to be terribly successful, and they're going to try to turn Angelus back to Angel.
Because, there's the one step, but they never bothered thinking how hard the second step is going to be. And the second step's kind of important.
And, yeah, I mean, who knows what could happen. Anyway, until next week, I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.